Wait, you don't know what you're doing. Watch this first. What's up, guys? MtgJedi here. How you doing this morning? I got my coffee. We're ready to go. And a lot of people have been asking me who are the worst legendaries in Raid lately. And then Ash mentioned it in a video recently as well. Just like so many people are saying, who are even the worst legendaries in the game right now? Isn't the game in kind of a good state where there aren't really that bad of legendaries in the game anymore? No, definitely not. There are lots of bad legendaries, and we're going to talk about them today. There's more than 20 champions on my list. Let's jump right in. Hopefully I'm going to be able to outline all of these champions that are terrible for you, okay? That need a buff, okay? That need a buff, right? The first one is going to be Black Knight. Okay, this was suggested to me by somebody on Twitch. Thank you so much. And I don't think that Black Knight does anything. He has an A1 provoke, which is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's not 100% chance, but it doesn't go with the rest of his kit. The rest of his kit is like support, continuous heal, increased defense, and then damage increases according to the amount of HP this champion has lost, but you can't make it work well. So it's like, and then he has this unkillable buff here. I don't know. It's the A3 that's got to change. I don't know what to do to make his kit better. You could put an increased speed buff here. That would be fine. There's a lot of different things, but right now, it's just not good. It's just not good. This does not go with this and has nothing to do with this. So his kit needs to make more sense, okay? His kit needs to make more sense. I don't want to spend a ton of time because, again, we have 20 champions to talk about. My girl, we got to talk about Manaya, okay? Now, Manaya is great if all you want is a dedicated healer. Okay, but you don't ever want a dedicated healer. The closest to that is Wither, but the difference is most dedicated healers have a they have a cleanse in their kit as well. Like heals all allies by 40% of their max HP, places a block debuffs for 2 turns on champions under increased defense. That's nonsense. There's no increased defense in her kit. Why does that exist? That makes no sense. If a champion is fully healed by the skill, also places a shield buff on them for 2 turns equal to 25% of the champion's HP. Just make this read, places block debuffs and increased defense on all champions. Now we're talking, okay? In addition, I think she needs something else in her kit, okay? Fills the turn meters of all allies by 20% when this champion is not killed. That's nonsense, okay? When this champion is hit by an attack. Just like give her like a Molly-like passive. It has a 6-turn cooldown also. It just, no, like her passive is bad. Fix the passive and make it more powerful and make this say block debuffs and increase defense. I always wish that she had a revive. I always wish she had a cleanse. Like, she doesn't have any debuffs in her kit. She doesn't really have any buffs in her kit. All she does is straight healing. So, I don't know. She does have speed in all battles by 19%. If you want to increase that to like 29%, that would make her interesting right off the bat. But my girl needs some love, okay? You guys know that I want her, and it'd be great if she was good by the time I got her. Lugan. He has an A1 that's a heal and a shield. He has an A2 that needs to say increased defense and ally protection on, like, increased defense on all allies. and ally protection on, like, he needs to do ally protection on the team and increase defense on the team. Both. Not just himself. No. And then over here, he needs to have something else with this block active skills. I think decreased speed would be great. Okay, decreased speed would be really nice to have here. Okay. Next up is the long forgotten Septimus. He's the worst enemy max HP champion in the game. Just change this to AoE now. Just change it to AoE and we're good. That's fine. I don't think you need to do anything else except change it to AoE. You could do has a chance to grant an extra turn on every use of this, or you could put an enemy max HP skill on the A1, but do something to buff him. He's terrible. He's worse than an uncommon right now. He's worse than an uncommon. Okay, that's everybody from Bannerlords. I actually don't think anybody in High Elves needs a buff. I think all of them are fine. Some of them are not great, but they all do a decent job, okay? In Sacred Order, there are 2 champions who need a buff from this faction. Can you guess who they are? The first one is going to be Glacea. Just make her passive be 100... Oh, wait, what is it? Yeah, just make this be 100%. Make it be 100%. You can put it on a cooldown if you want, but nobody uses her, and we all wanted to use her. She was cool. She was going to be a counter for Warlord and Yumiko. It would be very interesting. The rest of her kit is not great, so you could easily change anything about her kit, but if you change this to 100%, she will see play. Okay? The other one is the worst Void Legendary in the game. Just completely stop all of this. Stop all of this. Just delete all of the text and come up with something better, okay? Like, give her a 5-hitter on the A1 that has a chance... No, a 5-hitter on the A1 that has a 100% chance to place freeze and does... extra turn meter against Fire Knight. There you go. Then people would actually like her. Make her whole kit dedicated to hard Fire Knight. Make her like the hard Fire Knight killer. Okay? Delete all the text here and completely remake her kit. As is, this is the worst legendary in the game. She's a Void Legendary and she's the worst. Okay? So bad. Do not ever put time or resources into the majority of these champions. One champion in Barbarians, and that's going to be Altan. Previous in the history of Raid, this A1 decrease attack was amazing. After we figured out you can't decrease the attack on the single target clan boss hit, it has no purpose in the game. He has no purpose in the game. He does have increased defense on all allies, and maybe if you just change this shield to like remove the if the attack kills an enemy part. Yes, that would probably be good. And then his passive is still good. He has increased defense in all battles, which is good. Yeah, that's all you need to do is change that shield to always. Just places a shield. Increase defense, shield, always. And that's the only champion in Barbarians. I lied. There's one more. This guy. Complete waste of space. Completely terrible. You know, cool looking guy. Stolen from a popular television series. He just doesn't do anything. I don't even know what to do to like, make him usable. Maybe it's just his multipliers. Just buff his multipliers. That would probably be enough. Okay, next up. Ogren, nothing. Lizardman. I am very passionate about this one. Okay, in the thumbnail, you saw me put Rosin Scarhide. He is not good anymore, guys. He's not good. The only reason you level him up is to clear Lizardman Faction Wars if you don't have a good squad. I was thankful enough to clear it with Pythion, so the only thing I'm going to do with Rosin is fuse him and put him in my vault. He needs some kind of debuff on his A1. He has a single target decreased defense and weaken. He has decreases the turn meter. If you change the wording to completely decreases the, or puts the turn meter to 0, this decreases turn meter by 100% is very misleading. And it's on a 6-turn cooldown. This is a legendary champion. A 6-turn cooldown? What are you doing? Like, change this to 4 turns at minimum. And then put some kind of debuff on the A1 or something. Like, it's time to buff Rosin. Nobody wants to fuse him. It's a chore to fuse him because he's not good, okay? I'm always in favor of putting people's kits so that they're usable for Hydra. So an A1 that has decreased speed on it, for example, removes buff, place decreased speed, that would all be great, okay? But actually the #1 champion I want buffed in the game, other than Manaya, is going to be Roxanne, okay? So just think to yourself the power of this song that we have available, Roxanne. So Roxanne needs to turn on the red light in the game, and I know exactly how to do that. #1, buff his multipliers, okay? That would be perfectly fine. I don't actually care about that, though. What I would love to see happen is AoE places the veil on all champions for 2 turns. Just change him so that he's a viable champion for the Hydra boss, okay? AoE veil or perfect veil, I don't care. Pick one. Doesn't matter to me. For 2 turns on make it be a 3-turn cooldown. Just make him actually usable. As of right now, there is nobody in the game who uses this champion. Nobody. And if you make him place that team-wide veil or perfect veil, all of a sudden he becomes awesome and desirable for Hydra teams. Please make this change. I would love to see him and Manaya actually be good in the game. Okay? Skinwalkers, Norog. He's bad, okay? He's bad. He's just not good. I don't know what we need to do to make him good. Change his A1 to AoE and also add Provoke there. That would be perfect, actually, I think. You know, there's got to be something. He's a block buffs champion that nobody uses in Hydra. That's a problem. Block buffs is one of the most important debuffs you need. Or maybe change this to block buffs, decrease speed. That would do it. His passive does not seem to work. I would, like Saf maybe, or Plarium, like, go and test this. I never found his passive to actually decrease any damage. I never did. I tested him thoroughly. And, like, I don't know. I can't look at the code to see if it's actually working or not. I can't, like, I don't know. That's not my thing to, like, test mechanics in the game, right? But I can tell you that based on what I've tested with him, it doesn't seem like it's working. And if his passive were working, then I think a lot more people would use him. So, Norog needs a buff. In Orcs, Danag's Skull Reap has a really cool kit, but his multipliers are bad. All you need to do to make him usable is just buff his damage. Done. Everybody will be mad at me if I don't mention Angar, okay? And that's because he is a sweet provoke champion that no one wants to use. Make the reflect damage buff not be, like, make these buffs not be able to be stolen and do extra damage against bosses. And then add, like, something else to his kit, I think. Places an extra hit if the enemy has provoke. Also places decreased speed. Or, I don't know. I think that he's not good right now and no one uses him. even though he should be a great champion. No, that seems decent, right? Like, couldn't you build him with resistance so that he's a resistance tank? Let me think for a second. Okay, well, step one, he needs to do more damage. Right now, he tickles people with his giant axe. So I would say definitely buff his multipliers because he can't just do anything, right? He cannot do anything in the game. And that's a shame because he seems like a good champion. All right, anyway, moving on. Next faction is going to be Demon Spawn. There's nobody in Demon Spawn. Demon Spawn's stacked. Undead. I have some cool ideas for Undead, okay? Elgaius, everybody hates. If this was all, 70, he has a 100% chance of removing all buffs. That could be cool. I think that he needs a buff, but he is usable in Faction Wars. He's very good there. I would rather see Scartorsis or Bloodgorged or Suzerain buffed. All three of those champions could definitely use a buff. I would love to see puts the skills on cooldown mean something in Hydra. I would love to see enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived mean something in Hydra. What if this just had the stubs of the Hydra get an extra turn? So instead of 2 turns for them to be decapitated, it changes it to 3. I think that would be really cool. Okay, as of right now, Bloodgorge is like a C tier nuker. Nobody needs him. Suzerain, I think, could be really cool. I wish that this would just say removes all buffs from all enemies, then attacks them. Remove all buffs. The buff removal cannot be resisted. All of a sudden, you have a very good champion, okay? Over here, the weaken and the decreased defense, I don't know. It's not really enough. And then buff the chance on the decreased speed. He's close to being good. He really is. And with such a high base attack, like, he doesn't do any damage, right? All right, next is going to be Dark Elves. In Dark Elves, we want to buff Queen Eva. Right now, she is comparable to rare champions as a campaign farmer. She's not even the best campaign farmer. I just use her because I have her, okay? I think that she just needs, like, her A1 and her A2 changed, okay? You could change those to all AoEs, and then I think she might actually be good. I think her multipliers are probably decent, but if not, she's got a crazy high base attack. Buff her damage. That was the only person in Dark Elves. In Knights Rev is stacked, but Fortis needs a buff. What could you do to buff Fortis's damage? I'm pretty sure just changing the code to the way that it's supposed to be. Some people might say Bistafis. I don't know. Bistafis has like the highest base attack in the game, and he does no damage. So just buff his multipliers is probably fine there. In Dwarves, I have a really cool buff suggestion for Beauregard. I want this guy to be good so badly, okay? Increased defense. I don't like that it goes to a random ally, though. So change that. We need to know who it... I mean, I don't know. You tell me. I don't like his A1. His A2 is fine. We have increased resistance, increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. Grants an extra turn. Done. Okay? Grants an extra turn, or put increased defense, or a shield, or a veil. Either add a 3rd buff, or add an extra turn. Either one of those is fine. The number one thing you need to change is his passive. Okay? Allies receive 10% less damage from champions or bosses. We need a boss part to the kit. If you put a boss part to the kit, then all of a sudden, he is a great champion for Hydra. I would love to see like a debuff in there that's helpful, or an increased speed. Oh, we do have the increased speed. Okay, so I mean, decreased speed is what I'm saying. Like, I would love to see a debuff in here, but if you put a passive in here that is good against bosses, specifically the Hydra, then this will be a good champion. Okay? Shadowkin. People are probably going to say buff Noble. I don't know how to do that, but if you want to buff Noble, I'm all for it. Okay? I'm all for it. I think Gamoran is trash as well, so you could buff him. But again, I don't know how to buff him. That could be a situation where it gets an extra turn on a decapitated head in Hydra. Not sure that'll be good enough. I would just kind of redo Gamoran's kit. Like, his A3 is cool, right? His A3 is cool, but like, you have to have something better in here for the A1 and A2. I don't like it. It's not good anywhere. It's not good anywhere. And then last but not least, I think Alil needs to be mentioned because he could be cool, but he's just not good, right? Finally, in this video, I want to say that despite the fact that we talked about 20 plus legendaries in the game, I would love to see some epics that are buffed in this game. You have a faction like Sacred Order where there's like 5 usable epics and the rest of the 50 epics are garbage. Change that. Make it better. You know? Like, nobody uses Hope or Adriel or Canoness. Nobody uses Relic Keeper or Missionary or Lady Atessa or Bushi. Sanguini is bad. Julian is bad. Tally is bad. Frostbringer could start bringing the frost against the hard Fire Knight. I mean, there are tons of epics in the game. Just literally pick any of them and actually make them good. The buffs that have happened to epics have been bad. They've been not helpful at all. Romero's actually kind of makes him usable now, but even so, it's just like most people just don't believe it. All right? Most importantly, tell me what you agree with or disagree with in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video.